9 o'clock in the evening of the Indian Standard Time of the 30th of October of the year 2019. I crave leave to address all of you live on this particular evening, even though the incidences concerning which I would like to speak today took place a number of days ago. My first addressing, I crave leave to underline the recent attack by a dictatorial regime in the Middle East, killing a large number of people, forcing them to abandon their homes and houses, to leave their country, and to immigrate into other places, even as refugees, without much hope. But can we blame those people who are taking refuge if we are unable to protect those people against such heinous, such unpardonable crimes? Not merely of invasion, but of a grave and very serious offense known as war crimes. Every human being has the birthright to reside in his own country. It is his or her birthright. It is his or her legitimate right. It is his or her fully justified right. But if we deprive them of those rights, they, for the fear of their lives, their little ones, their belongings, even their loving animals, may be compelled to leave their own homes and houses and take refuge in order to be saved. But is this really justice? Is this natural justice or equity? Can we justify such wrongs in accordance with the law of the lands of various regions of the world? Can we justify this basing upon the Charter of the United Nations? The UN Charter, the United Nations Charter, justifies an attack only in cases when an imminent attack is anticipated reasonably by the attackers. I beg your pardon, by another state, another regime, onto the territory of the attackers in defense. The Charter of the United Nations does not justify any aggressive attack, nor an offensive one, but merely a defensive one, even in anticipation. So how can we justify a war which took place, perhaps unofficially, but very recently, merely a few weeks ago, in the Middle East? I ask this question to my own self, and also to you, my most respected, most honorable, and most beloved friends, and all viewers who are watching me live at this moment, or are about to watch sometime later at their own convenience. A war can never be just. There is nothing to win in a war Because whether we lose a war or win a war, we are the losers simply on the ground. The human beings, our loved ones, our loved animals, which are lost and destroyed, are irreplaceable. Even paying everything in the world, we cannot bring even a single one of them back to life, back to our homes and houses. If they're dead at least physically. Therefore, my dear friends, I ask you, I request you, I urge you, and even beg you most humbly to speak out against such evils. Such evils, particularly those of wars, give rise to additional wrongs in chains. For instance, when people are forced to leave their countries, homes and houses, even as refugees, the alternative heinous and shameful crime of human trafficking, illegal slavery, abuse of children, abuse of women, disregarding of the elderly, the infirm and the handicapped, oppression of the weak, and various other types of wrong are bound to arise and reach their peaks. This is the current situation in the world. We often speak out against various types of crimes, including human trafficking and illegal slavery. But we often fail to find out the exact reasons why those people have to leave their homes and houses and immigrate into other countries, into countries where they're not merely regarded as second or third class citizens, but sometimes practically as slaves. And there is no greater wrong than to discriminate another human being and to consider him or her, that victim, to be a human slave. Slavery has been abolished in law, at law in equity. Slavery is contrary to natural justice. Slavery leads to humiliation of the human race as a whole. These facts are known to us. Yet, we have remained quite indifferent in speaking out against them. This is proven even in a quite recent case, in a very developed, modern, and sophisticated country of the Western world in the Eastern Hemisphere, a country which is a permanent member of the Security Council of the United Nations. This could not have taken place if all of us, unitedly and individually, if I may use the expressions with all due respect, did not remain passive, did not turn our backs to such problems. We need to speak up. We need to speak out and again speak up for those, on behalf of those who cannot speak out on their own, who lack the ability, the skill, the courage to speak out on their own or to speak up, lest they are persecuted, tortured, and killed. Yes, you heard the expression quite correctly. They are persecuted. This is an expression. They are tortured, another expression, physically and mentally. I crave to add with all due respect and humility and disgust. And indeed, killed, I crave leave to add, even to my own shame. You may ask why I am referring to my own self. Why am I to blame? I am to blame because, despite my repeated efforts for the past few years at least, to persuade my fellow citizens of the world to come forward and speak out against such grave injustices of the world, in plural I'm using the expression, such inequity, such shameful crimes, such inhumane offenses, I have not been able to move their hearts. And this is indeed my own failure, that I have not been able to persuade them to do so. I share the same blame as anyone else, any other reasonable person on this globe. I cannot wash my hands and dishonorate myself or exonerate myself from such responsibilities. But my dear friends, my respected friends, my most honorable friends, I'm merely a little fraction in the world. I alone can achieve nothing. I alone can do nothing on my own, unless you and your fellow citizens of the world, the global citizens, unite ourselves together in one and single and undivided bond that is called the bond of humanity. We need to speak out. We need to speak up. We need to battle lawfully against such grave and heinous crimes. Only then, and then only, there is a hope for all of us, for our future generations, for our children, grandchildren, and their children and grandchildren, and also the other species of the animal kingdoms of the world, to exist in a world properly. It is our duty. It is our indispensable duty. It is our inevitable duty. It's our unavoidable duty. If not legal, most certainly moral. And unless we speak out against such injustices, we cannot combat them. We cannot ever bring such grave injustices, such heinous crimes to an end. Criminals will flourish, and so will our shame, even as human beings. We were created by our Creator's holy will, in His grace, and according to the holy books of the Torah, or the Holy Bible, I should say, and the Holy Bible, even in the very image of our Creator. If we don't recognize each other as the very image of our Creator, we disregard our Creator as well. When we abuse a child, or let a child be abused, we insult, humiliate, and abuse its Creator. When we allow our fellow countrymen and women to be enslaved, we disregard our Creator, in whose image each one, every single one of us was created, and we exist. But we can exist to His glory, even to His greater glory, only, but only if we fight against injustice lawfully, to the best dictation of our own conscience. There is a hope for all of us, even for our future generations. But if, and only if, we act together, with one and single aim. We will not tolerate such grave injustice on our planet, the Earth. But speak out and speak up, even for and on behalf of those who cannot speak out, speak up on their own. As I said already, it is our inevitable duty. It is our indisputable duty. And we must fulfill this duty while we exist. Our lives may be short, considerably short comparing to the world, let alone the universe. But it is long enough to do something good. So let us not waste our lives, but do something good for others while we still live on this earth. I thank all of you for watching this video and for coming forward as I beg you once again to do so. Wish you God's blessings and thank you once again. I remain your most humble servant, your fellow global citizen. Thank you once again.